Mercedes-Benz Patent Motorwagen 1886. Review. This is it, the big bang moment of the passenger car. Overview. What is it? The start. That's what this is, the germ, the seed, the big bang moment of the passenger car. The heat and light of the expanding universe of the modern vehicle can be traced back to this point. The Carz Benz Patent Motorwagen of 1886 is pretty much regarded as the world's first automobile. It is therefore as retro as it's possible to get without requiring a feed bag and a shovel. There are three really obvious wheels measured in feet rather than inches. There's a 1.0-liter single-cylinder motor in the back, countered by an absolutely whopping horizontal flywheel to balance everything out and prevent the car shaking itself to pieces, a trembolor coil ignition and drip oiling system. There is a lot of brass. The carb is evaporative and operated by a sleeve valve that sorta of acts like a throttle, and the output is approximately 3/4 of 1 horsepower to 1 horsepower at roughly 400 revolutions per minute. We're guesstimating here, because there are no dials. Which is, apropos of nothing, 720 times less than the current Mercedes-Benz GTR Black Series. The suspension is via elliptical springs, the steering via a gear tiller, the drive delivered to both rear wheels via a pair of chain drives linked by a simple beam axle. The transmission is a big leather strap that operates as a simple single speed, pushed by the big lever on the left-hand side of the operator's wooden bench from an open-to-drive disc to engage forward motion, and reverse is engaged via the medium of shoe leather and a bit of sweat. Or parking on a slope. And it is beautiful, part vintage automaton, part church organ, part antique love seat. Back in the day, this was the Chiron of its age. Except it had no comparatives. Various versions made their appearances as Carz Benz improved the breed, birthing 1.5 horsepower and 2 horsepower variants, with some 25 patent motorwagens being produced between 1886 and 1893. The world's first production car, then later replaced by the Benz Velo, this one is actually a faithful reproduction, nut and bolt perfect, maintained by the Mercedes-Benz Museum, and it operates exactly as it did back in the late 1800s. It's probably slightly more reliable, modern tolerances narrower than the castings of the true original, but the drive is pretty much as close to as it was as can be. Now turn to driving experience. To drive, first you must start. And the process is a little different to turning a key or prodding a button. The ignition is engaged by turning a screw under the seat, relaxing a metallic bar to make a solid contact, 3 taps open to begin the solid drip of lubricating oil. After that, muscle is required. If you want to get a patent motorwagen chugging, you need to spin that flywheel with enough force to overcome the cylinder's compression and get everything moving. But be careful, if you don't spin it hard enough, it jerks back violently enough to break a wrist. But suddenly, with a gentle pop and a slight whoosh, the Benz foot flutters into rocking life. Resisting the urge to shout, "Contact!" is hard. Then it's back up onto the driver's bench, a quick check of the extremities and an easing of the drive lever forward, you pull back to retard more futtering, and the whole thing gently steams itself forwards. The front wheel operates via a gear tiller, and the idea of direct steering was basically invented here. You can see the meshed teeth speeding up the handle's efforts. Weirdly, it's much better than you may imagine. Precarious, unstable, any attempt at cornering at more than very moderate speeds sends you sliding lightly across the wooden slats of the seat. But there's a weird intimacy about the engine floofing away under your buttocks, the smell of hot oil and the knowledge of exactly what is doing what to make this contraption move forwards. In modern vehicles there's more unseen magic than mechanical texture. In the Benz motor wagon, you're steeped in the process, not the product. There aren't really many analogous elements for a modern road tester to grab hold of. The ride is non-existent. The thicker your trousers, the better. The road holding, a function of the stance rather than the friction of the solid rubber tires. The performance is present, although there's an argument that this is a true super leg error, seeing as it only weighs a few hundred kilos. And yet, it's not hard to see how revolutionary this thing was. When 99% of people used a horse, the motorwagon was the equivalent of a personal jetpack. Thank you for watching. Be with us for more reviews of legends.